What's up, YouTube? It's Jameer. I'm back with another video today. And I know y'all ain't heard me in a while. It's been a minute just because it ain't really been nothing to talk about, bro. Honestly, I'm not really too into football. I kind of like football now. I'm going more into it now that I'm going to like my college football games and I'm watching the NFL a little bit. But I'm really not into football. Basketball's not here. But UFC was back on Saturday, and one of my favorite fighters who I used to actually dislike a lot, Pereira, he was fighting. And to be honest, going into the fight, I really didn't see anything different other than the outcome for Alex. I thought he would definitely stop this Khalil Roundtree guy. I didn't think Roundtree was really even that good. I mean, his record didn't look too hot. His last two fights, he did stop those guys, but they weren't the top of the top. I didn't think Anthony Smith was at the top of his game anymore, but from what I saw, that guy really can fight. He really is actually pretty good, and he gave Alex a run for his money. In my eyes, he was winning the first two rounds quite clearly. Obviously, now we know, and as I was even watching the fight, I could tell it was more of like a filling out for Alex because Roundtree had a very different approach. He was very strong, he was fast, and he was going about it as aggressive as possible, and it kind of threw Alex off, I believe. So it took him a couple of minutes, about 10 minutes, for him to really understand what his game plan was and to figure it out. And in that third round, I also might have gave it to Roundtree, but you could see Alex was picking it up, and Alex definitely clocked him and caught him. And when he was able to bust him open with that shot, I can't remember what shot it was, but he made him bleed. Once he started to bleed, I was like, okay, Alex, he's got a rhythm. And by that point, Alex also kicked into his second gear. As you could tell, I thought Roundtree thought maybe he could slow him down in the first couple of rounds, and since he could scare him, he would get him up out of there in those first three rounds. But Alex was able to keep his composure and not take too many big blows, and he was able to stay away from the shots enough to where it would tire Roundtree out and then eventually stop him in the fourth round. Incredible fight, by far the best fight of the night. With that being said, now Alex Pereira is 12-2 in the UFC. He's 12-2 in his MMA career, but now he has only lost one time in the UFC to Israel Adesanya, the greatest middleweight. Sorry, Anderson Silva. Might be Anderson Silva still. Let me take that back. But one of the greatest middleweights of all time in Israel Adesanya. He's beaten guys like Sean Strickland, who's the champ. He's beaten Izzy, as I said before. He's beaten Jan Blachowicz. He's beaten Yuri twice. He beat a former champion in Jamal Hill, and now he's beating Khalil Roundtree. In my opinion, with how long he's been in the UFC, under 3 years, with all of these fights, and he's fighting consistently. Like, it's not like he's fighting every 6 months. He's fighting back to back to back. His first fight was in November, 2nd March, then July, then November, then April, then July, then November, then April, then June, then October. And he'll probably be back in there before March again, which he doesn't really need to. He needs to take at least half a year off, I believe. After that, that was a pretty gruesome fight, I would say, for both fighters. Obviously, Roundtree had the worst of it, but Alex got hit with some shots as well. For him to be so active, and in all of his fights now, he's had what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fights for the title. He's 5-1 in those fights. Alex is already a legend in the UFC, in my opinion. He's one of the greatest UFC fighters that I've seen, even in his short time here. I don't think a lot of people would disagree with that. I think for him, at this stage of his career, for him to be 37 years old and to come and take over the UFC just how he has, and fought all of these former champs and all of these different types of fighters. He's fought those guys that's wrestlers. He's fought strikers. He's fought all-around guys. He's fought the best of the best at whatever they do, and he's been able to beat them all. Every fighter that he's fought, he's literally beaten all of them. He only lost one fight in the UFC, and that was to Izzy, and then he beat him in the fight right before that. So, and I believe if they fought a third time, I think Alex might get the best of him. I don't think that he's a better fighter than Izzy, but I do believe he's a little bigger than Izzy, and just his overall muscle mass, his strength, his ability to hit, he probably would beat Izzy in the third fight. I'm not going to fully count out Izzy because Izzy is Izzy, but you've seen Izzy's not had the greatest showings his last couple of fights. He's lost to Duplessis. He's lost to Sean Strickland. And that was all after losing to Alex Pereira. So I'm going to say Alex will beat him again. Honestly, the only other fight that he could have really with somebody in the light heavyweight division is the Russian wrestler. I don't know how to say his name. I'm not even going to butcher it right now. But he can only really fight him. And then if he beats him, I think he could go off and retire, honestly, because he could retire right now and still go down as one of the best in the UFC. But if he fights him and beats him, bro, I don't think there's anything else for him to do. I think he's a little too small for heavyweight. I don't think he should move to heavyweight because he might lose. He probably will lose there and then take away some of his aura. But if he wanted to go up there, he might actually beat some guys at heavyweight as well. He probably can beat some guys at heavyweight. Maybe not the top of the top, but he could beat some guys at heavyweight. But to me, he can already retire. But if he beats the Russian guy at the light heavyweight division, I think it's no doubt that Alex is one of the greatest UFC fighters in the shortest span ever, to be quite real with you. And that's just that on that topic. I want you guys to let me know down in the comment section if y'all think Alex is also one of the best UFC fighters, if he goes down as a UFC legend. It doesn't really matter what we think. From what he's been able to do, he's been extremely impressive, and there's really no bad that I can say about him. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's from my eyes to yours. Congratulations to Alex Pereira once again, and I'll see y'all in the next one.